There we go. We have some familiar faces already here as attendees. We're going to start the webinar right at 11:34. So please hang tight for a couple more minutes. Everybody always has a Zoom issue. Currently, my mom is having a Zoom issue, so.
Life in 2022, everyone has Zoom issues. It used to be El Tapón de la Kennedy. Now it's my computer updated and Zoom updated and I can't log in.
Usually the having to open Zoom via app seems to be a common denominator of issues. Let's just give everybody one more minute and we'll go ahead and start. All right. So hello, everybody. My name is Adriana Pérez, and I am the manager at Parallel 18 Ventures, which is a sub-program of Parallel 18. Today, we have an incredible panel of leaders in Puerto Rico. All of them have an enormous amount of years working in the industry, and it's an absolute pleasure to have them with us sharing what Puerto Rican startups raising capital are looking for, the trends, and even name drop some companies. So welcome, Evi, Bettina, and Alejandra. Thank you for joining. We want to make sure to thank the Puerto Rico Science Research and Technology Trust for giving us the space to host these How to Invest in Startups webinar. They've been a good hit, and we hope to continue to have them both virtually and in person moving forward, looking to get that connected, engaged investor network. More information about learning how to invest well, what we have going on in Puerto Rico, and continue to collaborate as an ecosystem. So to kick things off, I want everybody to introduce themselves, our amazing panelists, who you are, how many years you've been working in the industry, and what organization you're part of. Whoever wants to start, take it away.
Okay, I can start. So first off, I think we were talking a little bit behind the scenes, so it's awesome to see a women-led panel. So that's the first thing I have to say. And to know that we are, leading efforts in so many ways. So it's really awesome to be here. And thank you, Adriana, for putting us in this, giving us this opportunity and be here and be amongst each other. So that's the first thing, and it's so exciting to see. I see a lot of familiar names in the attendees. All right, so if you know me, I think I've met a lot of you. I'm Bettina Maestre, and if you don't, it's so great to be here with you today. I am the operations manager and entrepreneur experience lead here at Endeavor Puerto Rico. Just in case, very quickly, if you're not familiar with Endeavor, we are a nonprofit organization. We have a local office in Puerto Rico, but we are part of a global community. We have 41 offices around the world. And what we do is basically we are a network of people, and we want to give and provide access to founders, to our network of people, founders around the world, subject matter experts, mentors to help with any challenges that our founders have. This year, even though the office has been here for 5 years, this year we have a new team. We have Cristina Tamayo, who's the managing director, myself, Mariana Morales, who's a Bain extern. We've been very focused on where Endeavor fits in the ecosystem, what we really want to do for the entrepreneurs, and how to challenge the growth mindset. So we have definitely put some things in place towards that, which I'm happy to talk and excited to talk about during this panel.
Gracias, Bettina.
I can go next. Hola, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. Adriana, Prado, thank you for the invitation and for making this conversation happen. I am Alejandra Jimenez. I'm program manager of Unlock Capital. Unlock Capital is an accelerator program from the Community Development Venture Capital Alliance. We help founders navigate the capital raising process because our program and curriculum is focused on business finance. All Our Capital launched this year, 2022, and we just finished our first cohort with 15 incredible Puerto Rican companies who collectively, up to date, have raised almost 1.3 million. And a few of them are still in completing the capital raising process, and others are looking investors like you. So I hope we have a few more good news to share soon.
Gracias, Alejandra.
Thank you, Adriana and Parallel, for the invitation and for always including Guayacán. Hi, everyone. My name is Evi Collazo. I'm program manager for the Enterprise Business Competition in Guayacán. And we're one of the oldest organizations that provides entrepreneur support in the island. We just celebrated 26 years supporting entrepreneurs. And through the Enterprise competition, which has been around for 17 of those 26 years, we impact through education and access to seed capital different startups in the island, and we're not industry specific. So we work with tech companies, women-led companies, agribusinesses, student entrepreneurs, just to name a few. And we also work alongside other organizations like CDVCA and their program Unlock Capital, so that startups can go from enterprise through Parallel, then Unlock can support them in the process of being investment ready for investors like yourself. But we've also invested a few years ago in some of our alumni through the Guayacán Idea Seed Fund, which was done a few years back, which it's closed right now, and we're looking to expand into that in the future. But that's just a little bit about what we do. We're really focused on educating and getting these entrepreneurs and their businesses ready, so that then they're super prepared to be ready for investment, which, you know, is super, super important, because without that structure, there's nothing there. So that's a little bit about what we do. And I'm also super excited that this is a women-led panel. And now let's kick it off.
Awesome. Thank you so much. For all of you looking for deal flow, we're happy to report that today we're going to send a deck at the end of this webinar via email with all the contact information of each of the programs. So stay put for that. But for now, we're going to launch into the first topic of our panel, which is trends in the startup ecosystem here in Puerto Rico. And as one of my mentors, Lucas Arzola, said once, quoted by newspapers, is companies need money to grow. That's an important part. And I think that the startup ecosystem in Puerto Rico, if you don't know about it that well, we want to make sure you know that it's been around for, as Evi said, over 26 years, with a lot of different players in the industry. And we've seen a lot of growth in different types of companies, from more traditional companies that are scaling and make millions of dollars, to now the startup ecosystem and its immersion in the island. Parallel as an accelerator has been around for 6 years, and now after 6 years, we're seeing these companies that are way more sophisticated in the way they're pursuing raising capital. And that's why all these programs, we complement each other in this big mission of getting our entrepreneurs funded. So I would like to hear from our panel, what are the industries you're seeing most prevalent now and most promising in terms of investing?
Okay, Alejandra, yes.
I would mention 5, not in a particular order, but renewable energy is one that every time I go to an event or and I have an info table, people that have this type of business shows up. Food and agriculture. In all our capital, we have a lot of food and agriculture companies, and like food sovereignty is a hot topic because newer generations want fresh local food. I would also say e-commerce. There's a boom of e-commerce in the island about almost everything, and also manufacturing. We have a few companies that are solid local companies that experiment and innovate in their facilities and even help other companies create products in their facilities. And lastly, I would mention tech, because when you apply technology to other industries, well, you create something new, and we have a lot of examples of that too.
Yeah, and I think on the tech component, one thing I've noticed a lot throughout the years is that the founders here, the mindset and the awareness about the tech component in their business has grown a lot. There's still a lot more. I think that we're still gonna, that's why organizations like us are in this ecosystem, because there's still a lot more that we can do for the founders. But the awareness of the global mindset, scaling, using, outside of Puerto Rico and the resources that we have here, starting their business here, but they're really putting in place at an earlier time what they need to scale. I think it's something that has really grown a lot in the past few years. So we see companies like Quibble who are early, but the foundation of what they're putting in the work now is going to get them to a high traction, high revenue, and the impact about investment and fundraising they'll be able to deliver at a faster pace than in the past.
I have to agree with the industries that Alejandra mentioned, and then what Bettina was talking about, the global mindset from an earlier stage is a pattern that we've seen through the years. I've been doing this for around 4 or 5 years in different organizations, and every time entrepreneurs are coming to our programs readier, if that's even a word, more with that mindset of, I don't just want to sell my product or my service or implement my technology in Puerto Rico. It's like, I can have a software management service, and that's great for local warehouses, but when am I I'm looking to expand to Latin America, to the US, to these markets that are not necessarily being served, or that I have a differentiator, but I need that money to grow. So people are coming to enterprise not thinking about, oh, I want to hit X target and, sell in the 78 municipalities of Puerto Rico. It's, I'm already doing that, and I really want to scale this business to with a global perspective. So I guess that's really important for investors to hear, because our entrepreneurs don't want to stay just in the local market.
Yeah, and I will also add that from my perspective, I've been working in the Puerto Rico startup ecosystem probably the least amount from our amazing panelists. I'm about to be 2 years old in the Puerto Rico startup ecosystem, but
you have
a
lot of experience outside. That's yes.
So comparatively, coming from emerging cities, I was before in Cincinnati and in Jakarta. Comparatively, something that I find super interesting and valuable from Puerto Rico that investors should look at is that the companies themselves, they spin out into technology as a second step, but they're subject matter experts in their field, which is very unique. You get a lot of founders that have 10 years of experience in an industry and decide to innovate on it. So you don't have those big hires that you would have in a traditional startup ecosystem where somebody has an idea and they have to hire an expert. These experts are building these solutions. I was just talking to one of the companies that is in our office, Terra Firma, which is a company that, they're working in creating solutions for mapping data using satellite technology for turning maps from 2D to 3D, because that's important in terrains like Puerto Rico that has a lot of mountains and shores, and with climate change, it's going to be an issue. So they're not imagining this idea and building a company around it. They're actually, professors in this field that are taking the leap into entrepreneurship. So those more mature entrepreneurs is a very familiar topic here in Puerto Rico. And I think it's important to recognize that when thinking about what type of companies we decide to invest in at an early stage. And then talking about the stages, I would love for you guys to talk about your year, the companies that you've worked in, and where do you see the stage of fundraising is in a broad scale here in the island specifically.
So obviously the Endeavor perspective is a little bit different, because we, our North Star is for us to support high impact entrepreneurs, which is just a fancier way of saying later stage companies that have more than proven their concept. They definitely are in different markets. So for us, going back to, you know, our new team, new strategies, and what we really want to do is support founders at an earlier stage than what usually Endeavor does, because we have seen that, you know, the ecosystem has grown a lot. Like the ecosystem 5 years ago is not the ecosystem we have now. There are a lot of resources in place. Like I know that we are going to have a very big company in the next couple of years be like our first unicorn, which is a term I have to use because it's the industry standard, but I'm not a fan of using like the unicorn term. But I know we're right on our way to get to that place, which is we need to get to that place. So I definitely think that we're definitely seeing a lot of, you know, new companies coming in the pipeline. I think now we're at a point where fundraising is crucial. Like I don't need to talk about the market for 2023 because we already have the data out there about markets and the fundraising. But the good thing about it is that our founders usually right now they're in earlier stage. I think in the earlier stage pre-seed, there's always a little bit more cash flow coming in. So I'm not worried about that. I think that the most important thing for founders is not necessarily the money, even though of course it's necessary. It's the network of resources behind the money. Founders now are really much aware of like it's a partnership. It's what you're bringing to the table. If you're investing in me, you're a part of the team. What can you also bring for me to help us achieve the goal? I think that they have their resources. Now it's more about putting into action, you know, what they need to get to their KPIs, their metrics and scale. And it's more about, again, bringing in new people to the table, partners, you know, that's what I think the ecosystem really needs.
Yes, and particularly in enterprise where we work a lot with startups, I think that a lot of them that are fundraising are still at seed stage. But we do have the Guayacán Venture Accelerator program where we do work with companies that are industry leaders, right? And that have been around for 20, 30 years, 15 years, you know, companies that have been in Puerto Rico that have a lot of employees, but that are looking to grow or expand into new markets. But they've never raised capital before necessarily. Like they have more traditional mindsets and ways to acquire capital, like a loan, a line of credit, you know, a lot of family-owned businesses. But we are seeing companies that go into the Guayacán Venture Accelerator program that are led by a new generation and that they want to sort of expand what their families build upon and are looking to raise capital to achieve that, right? And so I can name some examples. We had Teatro Breve, which a lot of people are familiar with here in Puerto Rico, the entertainment company, and they are looking to raise capital because they have these big projects to work on and build, like the biggest entertainment center on the island in the Caribbean, and that's something that you need a lot of money for. But they've been around for like almost 15 years, and they're sort of new to this world of how do I acquire investing. And so it's good to hear that there's a lot of startups and companies that are just, you know, wanting to build those relationships, but there are also mature companies that have that expertise that Adriana was talking about, that are industry leaders, that know the terrain, but that have never, you know, ventured into that world of acquiring, investing, you know, into their companies. And so we see it both ways in Guayacán because we have both programs, right? We work with both. But what Bettina was mentioning about relationships is something we were talking about earlier on. Is our entrepreneurs need the money, but they don't need just a check, right? Or just a direct deposit. They want to build their networks. They want people that add value, you know, these investors to add value to their company. We've had a lot of entrepreneurs that I've spoken about this with them, you know, like Asomio, for example, Ishmael, you know, he brought in investors that then form part of his board and that sort of work a little bit as mentors. Not that you ask permission from your investor to do X, Y, and Z necessarily, but that they have a sounding board and sort of that accountability that having an investor I'm sorry, I'm thinking in Spanish. The accountability that having an investor gives the founder is something that they look forward to having when they are looking to establish these partnerships.
Sorry, my internet got cut off. Did you change the question, or are we still on the stage of the founders?
We're still on stage with the founders.
Okay,
We
sorry.
love to talk, so.
Okay. Evie, sorry, I don't know if you finished. Okay, so in Unlock Capital, we have a diverse group of businesses. We have businesses that are early stage that started operations this year. And we have companies that have been more than 10 years in the market that are creating new products and considering acquiring another business. Those are the two extremes. I would say that most of them have been operating 5 years or less. And what they all have is a defined and validated product service, a strong executive team, and traction. Also, in our cohort, we have first-time founders and serialpreneurs, and they all have in common that they're highly educated professionals. We even have a few PhDs on our cohort.
Awesome, great. So I think that what we're seeing is that in terms of industry, tech is obviously one that's continued to be innovated on, but with products that already exist. And in terms of stage of funding, it's not going to be your traditional early stage company. It's probably going to be a company with a couple of years in the industry that's pivoted a couple of times, that needs money to actually scale and grow the company. So I think that these are important things to note when we're looking at the startup landscape, because it might not be the typical behavior you'll see in a early stage founder community in the United States. However, there are benefits to investing in early stage rounds of a company that has more years, particularly for those investors that like to be involved in the companies, that are looking to give advice, mentorship, and network. We want you to come to the island. We want to invest in our talent, and founders want to be engaged with their investors. So those are great finds. And then last on trends.
And Adriana,
Go ahead.
If I can add, sorry to interrupt you there, but also like what I always, what I'm always saying is that you see the founder, but believe me that there's a whole team behind those founders. Like, we talked about Quibble, like, for example, I know they went through Evie, right? They went through one of your programs. Yeah, so we have Quibble. They're now going to go into pre-18, so basically it's like you have this whole ecosystem behind them, just like really supporting them from all angles. Like we are right now, you see 4 of us and we're representing our organization, but we also have a team behind us and we're all rooting for them in different ways. And we all focus on different areas that I think that's why it's also the time is now, the time is now. We have companies like Raincoat raised $4 million last year and one of their lead investors with Anthemis and SoftBank. So the validation is there. I just think it's again, and I really want to hone on this, but like the time is really now for you to be the leaders of this next generation of founders.
And to add a little bit to that, it's like they're being vetted by us, right? These founders and their companies not only supported, but also sort of, it's like a vetting process. And 9 out of the 15 companies that did unlock capital are Guayacanes. Quibble was one of them, but there's also Terra Nostra and Molcajete Foods and Cuela, just to name a few, right? And so great thing is that we complement each other so well, and we focus on the area of expertise that the organization has. And through each, process that this company goes through, it's sort of another vetting process. They go through ICOR, which is our idea validation program. They go through pre-18, enterprise, and each step in that journey for them adds value and growth, not only to the founder, but to the company. And so I think that speaks a lot about the support system behind the company, not just, whatever staff or board they might have, but there's also a whole ecosystem backing and supporting these companies.
Yeah, I would only add that that's our biggest strength as an entrepreneurial ecosystem, that we have all these programs that support entrepreneurs in each phase of that entrepreneurial journey. And we collaborate. You can see it here, like this is a perfect example, because the main goal is the same one for all of us, is to help these founders have successful businesses so they can drive economic development in Puerto Rico. So we're very aligned in that.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to highlight two parts of this discussion, and it's that entrepreneurs that are looking to get capital have gone in the island. The majority of them have gone to some sort of acceleration program or are part of some sort of network that supports them beyond the program itself. So they are parts of communities. It also demonstrates that they're very open to feedback, very open to continuous learning. You're going to have founders that are probably in the ranges, they're not super young, they might be more sophisticated, more 30 to 40s, and they're going through these programs, they're open to feedback, they're open to learning. So you're going to get very receptive startup founders that are actually looking to grow their company and scale and use money in a smart way. I think it's also
please, no, go ahead. Please finish your thought.
There are some funds that have historically been investing in these founders, including Parallel has been investing in these founders for 6 years now. Obviously, we have an international fund that we have companies from all over the island, but Puerto Rico has a strong participation in our fund. And there are also local funds and funds from the United States that have already kind of found Puerto Rico and don't tell a lot of people about it because you get amazing deal flow. The first time I came to the Puerto Rico startup ecosystem, that was what my boss said to me. We can't tell anybody about this because we have, incredible startups that are forming, and we have the deal flow, we have the keys to the great founders that Puerto Rico has. And it's time that I think that the United States sees that as well and put money into this country that can really, really push your idea forward because of the expertise and the preparation of the founders. Bettina, you were going to say something?
Yes. So I think you said something that for me is really important about that feedback. So this year, when I say we, I mean Endeavor, at Endeavor, we just at the beginning of the year, we started meeting a lot of founders, and we realized one consistent thing is that they wanted more feedback and for them to feel they had a better knowledge and understanding about the fundraising process. So, which is very different, I think, from understanding like a term sheet, understanding like the operational or the process. It's more about them feeling like they have the confidence and the knowledge that they need to put their strategies, which very much includes fundraising strategy, in place. So I think this is the perfect setting that, all of you investors that are here, when you meet founders, I think they really want to know. If it's a no, why not? If it's a yes, let them know what's interesting about their strategy, about their company. What are the challenges you see for them? Like locally as they grow, what are the things that they need to be aware of? They're really craving this feedback. And we were able to, we worked with 11 participants, and we did I'm going to say a program for lack of a better word, but again, Endeavor is not focused on programs. We're not going to be focused on programs. So it's really important to know that. But what we saw as an opportunity for us to use our network to connect them with the founders in Puerto Rico and for them to get this advice from people that have seeing, they have that global mindset so in a way they challenge that mindset and at the same time understand how their business looks like when they're talking to investors outside of Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is a particular ecosystem. So I think, investors also have to understand why the companies in Puerto Rico might be a certain way, which is different than other ecosystems, which is important for us to understand, right? So founders want feedback. So, when you meet with them, you don't have to handhold because that's not the expectations, but at least let them know maybe what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong, and that will go a really long way.
Yeah, and I would like to add also that I've heard from a lot of founders that, getting to Puerto Rico might not be the easiest a couple of times a year, but if you, your fund, or your angel group has an event that you have a demo day, that you're interested in a company, please email us, let us know. We'll send you, I brought everybody together here so you have this access. Get the list of all the programs that are in Puerto Rico and say, hey, we have a demo day, we're interested in these 5 companies. Maybe we can put our research together and find a way to help them to get there to the city. Puerto Ricans, we're very used to traveling a lot. Our founders are well versed in English. They're going to be super prepared because one of us yelled at them probably in a program and polished their pitch. So
or
please
all
let
of
us
us
know.
yelled at them at some point.
With love, with a lot of love.
With a lot of love.
Let us know when those events are happening. If you're going to a conference, send us an email because we're able to say, hey, these are the 4 founders that might have moved to the United States or interesting companies that are there, and they'll go and introduce themselves. We're very social, passionate people, and we build really strong businesses. So with that in mind, I'm going to open the Q&A chat just in case anybody has a question and wants to participate. But also, I would like to talk about 2023. What are the events that our organizations are going to have, and how these investors can get connected to them.
Perfect. So 2023 for us is going to be a great year. Just for context, we have 5 EEs, which are Endeavor entrepreneurs, and that is the goal. Like that's the North Star of our office. We want more Endeavor entrepreneurs, and that's all with the purpose of creating impact in our ecosystem, but also we're very big on the multiplier effect, which is we want our founders to give back to new founders, be it as mentors, as investors, and that's the Endeavor, what we call the Endeavor way, which is, and I know everyone here agrees, so it's not only the Endeavor way, but it's honestly the Puerto Rico way. We really like supporting each other. So that's the first thing. Second thing, from Endeavor, going back to, we are a global organization. We have 41 offices. Our networks are extensive. We have more than 1,000 people that we have in our network that we want to put in, we want to open that network to our founders. So with that, it can be, fundraising support, strategic corporate partnerships, as it continues to scale, Endeavor will be here. So 2023 for us is how to open our network, connect founders with our networks. Again, going back to that growth mindset, helping them in their needs and challenges. I don't want to say it again, but it's the truth, right? 2023 is going to be an interesting year in terms of fundraising, and that's why we're here. So I think in 2023, we definitely need a lot of support, not only in checks, but again, that feedback, what Adriana said. If you're going to an event and you think someone, that you invested in is going to be interesting for that event, take them to the event. Talk about the company. I think amongst yourselves too. The Puerto Rico market is interesting. I think there's a lot of learning. So wherever you go, that you can make people understand why it's interesting, and why, and I might be biased, but why it's the perfect market, then that would be great. But you'll definitely be hearing a lot about Endeavor. If you're also interested in being a mentor in our network, other companies in other markets, we are definitely happy to meet one-on-one next year, and continue supporting the founders in any way we can.
So in 2023, Unlock Capital will launch its 2nd cohort, and we will do a kickoff welcome event in March and the investor showcase in September. We encourage investors to attend both of these events because it's a great way of learning the investment opportunities that are available in the island. And also Unlock Capital, in collaboration with Parallel 18 and Guayacán, we're hosting the Angel Investing Series event, where we have panel discussions on angel investing topics and networking cocktail between founders and investors. So you're also invited to that.
So at Guayacán for 2023, since we are program focused, we are going to open our recruitment during the month of March, specifically for enterprise, and then for the Guayacán Venture Accelerator at the end of February. And how this ties to the investors is both of our programs have a demo day at the end of the program between October and November. We just had ours a month ago, and it went really, really well. We did a lot of connections with investors for our companies for both programs, right? And so that's something that we want to replicate next year. And we want all of you to attend. We do it in person here in Puerto Rico, so it's a great excuse to come down and meet with our founders and see, start establishing those connections. But I know you're gonna do it way before with all of the other events that the ecosystem has to offer. But in terms of programming, that's where we're at, and how investors can support us. Well, it's going to our activities, serving as mentors. What Bettina was mentioning, Guayacán is a local organization, but we have a great network that we're constantly connecting and growing with. So that's something that we want to keep growing and grow our network outside of the island. And so for investors that are outside of Puerto Rico to become part of our network, the best way to do that is to become a mentor in one of our programs, right? Mentor a company, give them feedback, and then that's sort of the gateway into the Guayacán network, into our demo days, and then connecting with the companies and possibly investing in them in the future.
Awesome. And us here at Parallel will be opening our pre-18 cohort, which is 26 incredible companies that are based in Puerto Rican. We're super excited. We have an awesome cohort. It's public. You can go to the Parallel 18 page and see what the companies look like. During that cohort, we're going to have an investor week where we're going to have not only traditional VC money examples, we're going to bring all the players from banks to bigger banks to online crowdsourcing and everything in between. So our founders are well educated in all the different ways they can get liquidity, but we would love you to be part of that. It's going to be live streamed, so look out for that. Additionally, we're going to have this how to invest in startup sessions. We're going to have 2 events during the year that connects our investor network directly with our groups, one during pre-18 and the venture week, and one during P18 as well. And most importantly, we have our ventures app. If you want to see what companies are raising capital that's been through Parallel 18, please go to there. We right now have about 18 deals on the platform that you can go and directly engage with them. Additionally, Invest Puerto Rico has Impeller, which is a platform that also has Puerto Rican deals listed on there that you can invest in. All of these are great resources that you can use and leverage while you're navigating through your deal flow. And I would love to remind everybody as well that we had a venture summit sponsored by Endeavor last year, where we had 18 companies that we had about 3 international ones that flew in to pitch to our investor network. They all have open rounds and are incredible founders. So there's a lot of resources. Read those newsletters. I see that we have some questions in the Q&A. So please continue to use that Q&A. And an important reminder, at the end of this, you're going to get an email directly from me with the links to all the resources from Guayacán, Endeavor, Unlock Capital, and Parallel 18 Ventures. So if we jump here, how can I apply to become a mentor for your programs? Well, if you would like to become a mentor for our programs, we would love to have you. You just have to send a quick email and we'll probably set up a time. Christmas in Puerto Rico is very long. This is important to know, but we love our jobs. So we will probably get back to you at a quick date. That deck is going to have the email and contact information of all of us, but all organizations, Guayacán, Unlock, and Bettina, if you want, I think that we have access to the chat. We can put it in the
Yes.
chat as well to put your information. And we would love to have you. The more, the merrier.
And I see a question about hold on, I'm typing in. Okay, I see a question about female founders raising capital, and I know I want to take like 1 minute on that. I think it's naturally business is just very different, men versus women, right? In case to men listening in, I don't know if you knew, but a lot of businesses take place when you're playing golf, right? So that's the first thing. And that's even like the basic of like doing business. And one thing at my time, I used to work at Parallel 18. One thing I realized throughout my time there was when I started having conversations with female founders, they started telling me it's just different. Like I understand the process, I understand everything, but you got to be aware that I'm a woman and it's just different. Just a brief example, they have a male co-founder, and when they're in a meeting, they only speak to the man. They never ask or direct questions to the woman founder, even though she's co-founder, all the things. So there's little nuances are things that just happen in the founder journey. And I know at my time at P18, I created a program called The Seat at the Table, which I would love to know in the future where that's at. But it was focused just for women founders in the terms of like, we want to create curated content specifically for the nuances and realities that come with being a woman founder. 2023 endeavor, I'm very passionate about supporting women founders, like founders in general, but of course as a woman, I'm really passionate about supporting women founders. So there will be some things happening in 2023 specifically for women founders. At that moment when that time comes, I'm excited to share, but just know that yes, it's needed, it's a reality, and we have an amazing, like, we have Amasar, women-led. Like, I can't even tell you how many companies are women-led, and we definitely also need to create more support for them.
Yeah, and I would like to also add, in our portfolio, we're not completely 50-50, but we're very thoughtful about getting those numbers up and increasing. Parallel 18 is a full woman program. We only have one man on the team, and it's Hector, and he's great. You asked for specific examples of supporting women founders. Well, the matching fund for Parallel 18, obviously, we take into consideration a lot, and it's a very diverse. And also for the Venture Summit, we had a lot of female speakers, which I was super pumped about. During curriculum, we also try to get that number to 50-50 at a minimum. If we have leaders that are women talking about tech, talking about product, it also helps move the narrative. But I would say that tactically, if I was raising capital as a female founder, finding those networks that are female driven is a great place to start. Those networks are super open. They have a lot of resources online, and reaching out to people is something extremely important that we should do more of. Visiting those conferences, going to these speaking events that are women-led is going to connect you, because us as women, as we continue to support each other, we can put each other in positions of more strength, and finding those investors that really fit what our company is trying to do. I don't know if Evie and Alejandra.
Yes, I wanted to add that those nuances that Bettina was talking about can also be a deterrent, right, for women when they are looking to raise capital and sort of decide not to do it, even though, you know, you think about it as a business, as a strategic decision, but at the end of the day, you know, we're all humans, we have feelings and things bother us, we don't feel comfortable, and sometimes people find it easier to stop a transaction than to continue in a space where they feel uncomfortable. So I think that women that have already gone through the process, for example, I would love to see in the future Amasar or Entre Panas, who are both Guayacán alumni, who are both Unlock Capital alumni, supporting, you know, and talking to women that are up and coming in the world of raising capital for their businesses, and sort of mentor them as well. We talk a lot about mentorship, but we really do learn through other people's experiences, and no two processes are the same, right? So just because Amasai raised capital doesn't mean that the next woman is going to do exactly the same thing that she did. But the fact that maybe Marisol can mentor someone that's up and coming and show them the ropes is a step in the door, is a seat at the table. And I think that's something that any female investors out there that I've spoken with that actually provide support within the enterprise program even teach differently, right? Even approach the company in a different way. And it's just a way to make sure that those founders are comfortable with the process. And it's not that you have to baby people, but taking into consideration the what women go through on a day-to-day basis. And I think that's something super important that people need to be aware of. And at the end of the day, it is a business decision, and they are business leaders and they have the knowledge and the experience. But it is really frustrating when they're the founder, but you're talking to their boyfriend and asking them the question. So I have to repeat after Bettina that that's a big no. And it's something that going into 2023, women are still struggling with, and it's out there now. So please don't do it anymore.
Awesome. So I am a real stickler about time. So I want to make sure to let everybody know that it is 12:15. Thank you for staying on. We're going to stay on for a little bit longer. If you have any questions, we can continue to discuss things. But thank you for being here. We're going to send you that deck that has the information on our programs. And as we said at Venture Summit, and I will continue to say in 2023, put your money where your mouth is when you talk about Puerto Rico. It's that every time I meet somebody that they say, I'm from Puerto Rico, the immediate response is, oh my God, I know Puerto Rico and I love them. If you love them, invest in them. We have technology companies with subject matter experts. There's no reason for these companies to not get funded other than visibility, and we're here to try to change that. So if you want to become part of our networks, if you want to talk to us, if you're interested in a company and you need a second opinion, if they've gone through our program, we have information about them. We're not necessarily going to give you the KPI dashboard, but we might give you 2 or 3 cents of what the company is like. We're resources. We're all working together. This ecosystem has been around for over 20 years, investing in companies for over 20 years. And in venture capital, particularly Parallel, more than 6 years with a portfolio that's super healthy, where we're really excited to have invested in these great deals. So I don't know if there is any more questions here, but we'll stay on for a while. If anybody else wants to do some closing statements here while we have the crew on the line.
Yeah, when you said, what is it, like, put your money where your mouth is, I went to Jerry Maguire, like, show me the money. So that's literally it. And again, I think, and I love that, it's the holidays, everyone that's here and joined, you could have done anything else, but you're here. So just showing up, integrating, in the community, going to these events, like we're constantly doing events, and like every organization, every entrepreneurial community event, they're there. Founders are here. And again, like I know the time is now, and I know in the next few years you'll be seeing that ROI that you're looking for, and companies are going to continue to grow, to scale, and it's now a matter of if you want to join that adventure, and I know that they're here, they're eager, and that's why I know we're all passionate about that, and I know that's why we're all here.
Yeah, and I'll make one more comment, and then I'll sorry, I forgot to mention this. For investors, we want to make your life easier. We get paid to make your life easier, to introduce you to the companies you want to meet. That's something we can do. We have the hours to do it. You can email us, I want X company and X industry. I like founders that I want a board seat, or I want to be an advisor in, let's say, beauty and insurance tech, in hardware, in software, and we can put you in front of those people. Because I know for a fact that if one of those companies isn't in Parallel 18, I'm going to call up Alejandra, I'm going to call up Evie, I call up Bettina, I say, hey, I have an investor that wants to meet specifically founders in this industry. And we will all rally and get you those invites. If you want to come to Puerto Rico to meet Puerto Rican companies, you can send us an email. We will put our programs together and set up a small demo day for you. We'll tell the founders, we'll send them your information. You can meet in a relaxed way. We can do that for you as well. So just to make sure we're all aligned, that we are working with you. We want to make this easier for you as an investor to get the deals that you want.
That is very true. Thank you for highlighting that. Well, as my name says here, Unlock Capital, all of our cohort participants have that in common. They're all trying to unlock capital. Adriana's gonna send you a booklet that we gave out in our investor showcase event. And there you're gonna see our 15 companies. You're gonna have a sentence describing who they are, what they do, their website, the founders' contact information, and the amount they're raising, and if they secured capital. Just to give you a quick update, because that document was made in late October. Aware is the only company that has closed the round. They're gonna open a new round next year. We still don't have details, dates, or anything. Ron Artesano, they have a We Funder campaign right now for $500,000. Gasco is almost about to close the amount that appears in the booklet, 450K. Huela also, and Rum Ratings, they secured half of the amount that they're raising. So if you have any questions or you want me to make an introduction or whatever you need, please contact us. I try to put my email in the chat, but I noticed that it's going to the host and panelists. I don't know if
I'll put it in a minute.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And I think that all of us too, because Aries and Bettina, we all put the emails, but they're going to us.
Gracias. I didn't realize.
I will fix it.
Okay,
I will fix it. Here we go.
thank you.
This is going to everybody.
There, yes,
There you
same thing
go.
happened
Go
to
ahead,
me.
Go ahead, Evie. You're gonna add something?
Yes, no, I just wanted to echo Bettina's words. You know, the time is now. Our entrepreneurs are ready. They've gone through our programs. They have an entire ecosystem backing them up. And what Adriana was mentioning is so true. If you want to meet any type of company, we will prepare either intro meetings, or we'll have you come to our offices, or we can prepare a small demo day, whatever you're interested in seeing. We're super flexible and really, really, really creative. And when we put 4 minds together, great things happen. So that's just throwing it out there. You know, we will make it happen if that's something that you're interested in when you're in Puerto Rico, for any of our programs, or for any of the activities that we just invited you to, or just because you're here on your own and want to meet with our founders. That's something that please don't hesitate to reach out and let us know, because we will make that happen.
Yeah, and while we still have a lot of people on the line, I'm going to read in Venture Summit, Puerto Rican companies that pitch seller ups. They automate processes, Piloto Mail. They do mail systems for co-working space in residential areas. Aseguratec gives you tailored options for picking your health insurance. Sorry if I'm butchering these and you guys are here. Quella Coffee is a coffee subscription. Hyperion is a neobank. Did I get that right? Neobank with an incredible founder. We love them, Ivan. Insu Health just got a lot of funding, and they have a hardware, technology, and medicine. Deaf Talk is automatic translation for the impaired in speaking and hearing. Groundbreaker is real estate technology. Amasar is pan de pana, which means how do you say pana pen in English?
Breadfruit.
Breadfruit. Delicious, green,
Breadfruit bread.
enormous. Ag Tools is technology from farming systems in a macro stage. LabGo has to do with pharma and technology. Produce is delivery of fresh produce to your house. Dev Media, customer success, automated, and they use in-person and technology to run that process for you. Syllabus, a web solution for education. Beauty 911, get your nails done at your house. Spawn Camp is like a LinkedIn for gamers, and Halo Technology is an application for services. So I gave a small introduction to all those companies, but as you can see, we're industry agnostic, and we have a lot. So whatever your expertise in, your passion is in, that you want to put money into it, that you have expertise in, we got something for you. Other than that,
Awesome.
The Parallel 18 Ventures app has 28 deals of companies that I did not list incorrectly. So you can go there directly, request an intro, and I will intro you myself. I think that with that, we will close this webinar. Thank you so much. Look out for that deck. And if the ladies have anything last to say.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Show me the money. Okay.
Have a wonderful day,
Happy
everybody.
holidays.
Yes.
Happy holidays.
Merry
Feliz
Christmas,
Navidad.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.